Hello everybody, it's Nemesis Prepper signing in again. I wanted to discuss with you the tragic and horrific event at yet another United States public school. Never a good day, never a good death. There's no such thing as a justifiable death in anger. It just doesn't matter, man, woman, child, it doesn't matter. I felt compelled to create this video because with the media's help, the general public and populace of our country tend to overreact, which I believe is their desire to create these reactions by just pummeling you with these half-truths that accompany these stories. Just bizarre accusations, allegations that cannot be challenged immediately because we're all just listening to the news. We're too far away and disconnected to verify anything, and we really in our hearts don't want to believe that the media would be used as a tool to compel us to have ideals in one political direction or another. So I want to apply a little logic that I hope you will utilize before you make any hasty decisions. And again, with regards to the shooting, tragic. I just don't think that any shooting is warranted unless it's in self-defense, period. That's my personal stance. I'm a gun advocate. I carry a weapon. I carry responsibly. I have training for my weapon, and that's really the only thing that differentiates me from a law enforcement officer as a civilian, because we're both human. We both started out as equals. As a civilian, the only variance between a law enforcement officer or any military personnel is training. And for those of you who aren't aware of it, training is readily available to the average American civilian. Advanced training, you can go from basic weapon training all the way through advanced tactical training, equal to, and in some events far superior to that training which law enforcement officers get through their BLET or basic law enforcement training courses. And those courses, much to your deception, are not all firearms. They are the majority law and teaching the officer to navigate the law and how to make arrests in compliance with legal requirements. Very minimal training on firearms comparatively. With all that said, just visit your local gun shop or visit an NRA website, visit an indoor shooting range that sells guns. When you open that door, will be shocked at how much training is available to you. And it may seem expensive at first, but think about how cheap it really is when you're dealing with your life after I'm done hitting you with a few logical statements. The first and foremost, despite all of the deceptions that are being generated, all of the illusions and the smoke and the mirrors, the police simply cannot protect you. Nobody wants you to hear that. Nobody in their heart wants to admit it. When a violent crime occurs, the first two people at that crime are the perpetrator and the victim. You get one opportunity to defend yourself. One. That one opportunity is going to change your life. You either become a victim in that moment, or you become a victim who defended themselves and prevented a sorrowful, horrific act from being perpetrated against you. Typically, if you become the victim, the police only arrive if you survive to take the name and description of the assailant so that they can find that person, arrest them, and then you get to look forward to years and years of court and embarrassment and fear and use this opportunity to protect yourself. It's your life. It's your right. All of the other reasons aside, a scream is not going to protect you from someone with a gun or a knife, or in a woman's case, a physical weapon be a man's hands. It's just not. For those who argue that if you're carrying a gun, it could be pulled and used against you, yes, it could. But I promise you that if a person pulls a weapon off of you to use it against you for a violent crime, if you don't have the weapon, they're going to commit the violent crime regardless. One thing that I find amusing is you never hear about police officers getting mugged and robbed, or military personnel getting mugged and robbed while they're in full battle gear, armed to the teeth. And the reason for that is they're armed to the teeth, and the assailants know that, and they're not easy targets. The other difference is training. Training is it. It's the only difference, my friends. Go get you some. I have a concealed carry weapon. My state permits it. I apply these logical questions, and when the only logical answer is that I have to protect myself, I do so. In the interest of self-preservation and the preservation of my wife and children. The knowledge that police are generally nowhere to be found when a crime is being perpetrated for a myriad of reasons. It's irrelevant where they're at and what they're doing, what your personal belief is. They simply are almost never there when a crime is being committed. You have the occasional lightning strike where a violent crime is about to be committed and there is a police officer nearby. That is so minuscule and remote. I would not rely on that. Anyway, don't react in haste with an emotional response that is directed in a direction that the media wants you to go. Use logic. We need to have weapons on the school property by responsible, trained people. You can become as trained as most law enforcement officers for the cost of your golf clubs or that $700 or $1,000 purse that you're carrying, or $800 shoes, or $20,000 motorcycle. Guns can be just as fun. On a shooting range, you make many friends. Training is physical, keeps you active, especially tactical training. But these are things that they don't want you to know. Any gun shop, any indoor shooting range, open that door, make telephone calls, get training. You have to be able to defend yourself, people. Buy a gun and carry in the interest of your own self-preservation and the protection of those you love. You are the first opportunity to defend yourself. If we can invest trillions of dollars annually in military and local law enforcement and state law enforcement and federal law enforcement, and the arsenal of weapons and ammunition that they have and unbelievably militaristic vehicles, and then they're not even there when most of these events occur, you can certainly understand logically that an investment of a couple $1,000 to protect you for the rest of your life and protect your family is not illogical. Taking a responsible gun owner's weapon is not going to prevent crime. There are way too many illegal weapons in circulation. You couldn't confiscate 1/10 of the actual weapons in this country. When you're trying to look at a prohibition event all over again, and it's just not a possibility. It would have been easier to prevent alcohol from being sold, and we failed there, than it's going to be to capture all these weapons. America, get trained. Get trained. You owe it to yourself and to your children, to your loved ones, your wife, your in-laws, your immediate siblings, anyone in your immediate vicinity on a regular basis. If you could have prevented a crime simply by obtaining training, you'll never forgive yourself. But I promise you, the realization that the police will not be there is going to be an epiphany if it comes too late, after you become a victim. That's why the Second Amendment exists, so that you can defend yourself against any type of violent onslaught, and also that you can protect your country. Our country is under attack, my friends. Just as surely as the sun will rise tomorrow, our country is under attack. Don't act in haste and give up your rights. Protect yourself.